So, hello folks, this is Richard Millman here for the Millman Experience, and today I'm fortunate enough to have the opportunity to work with a very talented young man here on my right, Sam Hendon, and we're going to record this session for John Cordo's fabulous new website, Squash and Racquetball Basics. So we're just going to talk, Sam, about what we did last time, and tell the viewers what it is that we were working on. We were working on half volleys, and what specifically did I ask you to do last time?
With the half volley specifically, it was making sure that I tracked the ball off the front wall and tried to time when to hit it rather than just running straight to the ball and
what size of swing was I asking you to use?
take a much smaller swing.
And why am I asking you to take a smaller swing?
Takes less time.
Takes less time, so you execute more quickly, but also it messes up the rhythm of the opponent who's expecting a certain rhythm for the return shot, and you're cutting their time down because you're not letting the ball bounce up and you're reaching in and you're just turning an attacking length into a push, but it's actually a counter-attack push because it takes all the time away. So I gave you some homework. What was the homework?
Homework was to play some games, the condition game, whereby the second bounce has to go behind the short line.
Yeah, the short line.
And if it hits the ball hits the back wall, forward in the back wall,
you lose the point.
Point.
Exactly right. So how did that go?
It was really good. The first time I played it, it was kind of a bit rough because it's hard to actually see the half volley option if you don't normally play it. If you're used to just letting the ball hit the floor in the back wall and getting into that rhythm.
Yeah, exactly.
To actually, yeah. So once you actually condition yourself to look for it, it became a much better game.
Right. Okay. And what benefit do you think there was to playing that conditioned game in terms of your full game?
It certainly encouraged me to actually take the ball much earlier at the back corners, and it was easier than I thought once you actually saw it as an option rather than just running to the back and taking your time.
So I think that's a really good statement, because people fall into habits, and if your habit is to let the ball bounce always to the full length if you haven't volleyed, you don't see the half volley as an option. You either go, shall I volley it? No, I can't volley it. I'll let it bounce, I'll let it come off the back wall. Whereas if you're saying, I don't want it to hit the back wall, can I volley it? No, I can't volley it because it's a bit too much for me, but I'll get in there on the half volley. You can cut the ball off, and where's that going to put you in terms of your position in the rally on the court?
Much further ahead.
Right, so because from here, from here you're coming and you're playing the ball on the half volley instead of coming to here and then taking more steps to the back, which is now taking you away. Okay, and then how about taking the pace off the ball? Were you able to do that, to take the half volley and just push it a little bit higher?
A little bit of practice.
Yeah.
Probably spent 20 minutes on the other night just trying to rally to myself and half volley everything, and it was almost easier when I didn't even look at the ball and just sort of zoned out a little bit and just let it.
Well, now it's interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that, because if you look at that project as a conscious thing, you tend to limit how much of your perception you use.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and that's why it's so important as a competitive squash player that you're not thinking about technical things during a match. All right? Because you've got to be thinking about strategy, and you want to let new techniques wash over you in practice until they become automated, so that you don't actually have to consciously think, so that in the end they become automated pieces of behavior. So it's the subconscious, the automatic system that we have to train, which is quite difficult to go from conscious, new thing, not sure what I'm doing, practice, cock it up a lot, gradually get a few right, then get comfortable with it, and then eventually you get to ownership, and it's automatic ownership. So that's great. I think what you've done is very good. How did the other guys manage?
It was, when I first played it with Jamie, again, Jamie and we both had the same sort of thing where every now and again you leave one, hit the back wall, and when you didn't necessarily need to.
Right, but it's just a habit, right?
Yeah, it got better.
Yeah, that's great.
Certainly Rob and I had a couple of very good games.
Okay, so today's work, we're going to try and do a little bit of follow-up work to that, and then we're going to try and use some of that cutting down the size of the swing, cutting down the execution time to start taking the ball in short, because this is something that you're very interested in, because you're a good athlete, you play well to the back of the court, but your confidence at taking the ball in short hasn't always been good. And I suspect that some of that is because you maybe have been trying to use too much physical technique, which takes too long to execute, and there's too many things that can go wrong. Whereas if we can get you confident about using a shorter swing and using your weight transference to take the ball in and actually take a little pace off the ball so that when your opponent gets there, there's nothing to hit, I think you'll get much more confidence. We know that if you can take a ball in short with no pace and tight, you're very confident about your ability to cover whatever comes from that ball. I think perhaps in the past, what you've been trying to do is play a shot that you're hoping is going to be the finite shot or put a lot of pressure on your opponent, and because you've been using too much swing, it's very difficult when you take a ball early, you've already got very little time, to use a technique that takes a lot of time to take it in short. You're going to hit loose balls. But anyway, we're going to make that progression. We're going to start off just following up what we did last time with some slightly different drills, and then we're going to gradually take it towards the front of the court. Does that sound good?
Yep.